Hey guys, so I kind of accidentally made a Cineback or my Sony A7C, and I was rummaging through my drawer with a lot of camera accessories, and I found out I have several cheese plates and would have enough stuff to actually build my own Cineback. I definitely had enough stuff to build my own, and also made it in my own way. The main thing is is it actually worth it to build your own? The amount of accessories that is used here, that would cost, if you buy it brand new, be around 150 bucks. But you can the original Cinebacks are much more expensive though, so those are around 300 bucks. But there are affordable options on AliExpress. You can find Fusion Rig, which sells them for 120 bucks. But the main thing is my camera, my Sony A7C, they don't have any Fusion rigs for the A7C. So that's why I kind of had to make it my own. Because if I would buy the original Cineback that do have for the A7C, it would cost 300 bucks, which for me felt a little bit expensive. It didn't really cost me anything right now to make this, because I already owned the cheese plates and all the parts to actually build this setup. So honestly, I didn't follow any instructions to build this setup. I just kind of built it as the way I was going, and the only thing that I fabricated was a plastic plate here, and I pasted the soft Velcro on here so it would protect my screen if I close it like this. I didn't add things to actually hold the screen from top and bottom, but honestly I don't feel like it's really that needed. Kind of added the Velcro here and this patch here to just cover up this ugly hole that I made, because it didn't 100% aligned correctly with the holes on the cheese plate. So I have this here. And the other benefit having this plastic plate here is just covers off a big gap that is there. And if we go to the other side, you can see kind of the big gap. I kind of use a small cheese plate to cover it here, but also this small cheese plate is a place that I could put a additional D-tap splitter if it's needed. The other thing is I do need this gap here because I need to actually access the menu button, which is really in the middle of the camera. V-mount plate that I am using is Catafo, and the reason for this one is that it was fairly simply screwed in with just one screw in the middle, and it was much more easier to get the correct height or placement of it than compared to other V-mount plates that has two screws on the sides, which you kind of need to have precisely the kinds of cheese plate that would have those screws at that point. So that's why, and also limits you how it could be moved up or down. This V-mount plate has a USB Type-C here, so I could basically use this Type-C to power the battery inside of the camera. And also the most expensive part of building a Cineback is honestly this V-mount plates, because they are mostly around 80 to 100 bucks. You could probably go for, instead of getting a actual power plate, go for just a V-mount holder plate that doesn't actually split the power to D-taps and multiple ports. That would be a lot more cost savings, much more affordable, but then you need to have your V-mount either having all the ports that you need, or then your V-mount going to a splitter on the side. If you already own most of the parts already, if you already have a rigging with a proper V-mount plate, the cheese plates and all the other small things that is needed would cost you around 60 bucks. And this V-mount plate costed 90 bucks. So that's the main thing about building this Cineback, the cost of it. And comparing it with like a rod setup, so I've set up this A7R2 as a rod setup, and the main thing is like I'm not just having this hole here because of the tilt screen. This hole is kind of needed because of the weight distribution. So the proper weight distribution is behind the camera here, just so it makes it easier to hold it much better. So you kind of need to push the V-mount battery back to actually have the proper weight distribution, because I see a lot of people, what they would do is push the V-mount battery all the way against the camera, and that would actually move the weight distribution much more forward. So we can actually show you the weight here is much more in the front. So yeah, you kind of need to hold it all the way here in the front to get like the proper weight balance. Well, before it was more actually in the middle. So if I'm holding it middle, it's actually dropping down forward. The other issue by moving the battery back is you just have that big gap behind the camera, and that just looks less of like a nice small compact setup than compared to the Cineback. And the other thing is this feels much more heavier because of this whole solid block of metal on the bottom. So it has like a switch quick release, and then the rod clamps, and then like the quick release plate, and that just adds quite a lot of weight. And this already holding this, filming this for several minutes, I'm already feeling the weight of this, holding it continuously at this height. While with the Cineback, I'm actually feeling that it doesn't feel as heavy as this. And the monitor on top here is the Portkeys LS7P, which actually allows me to control the camera settings. So can actually change the exposure, white balance, the ISO values. So basically like the settings that I want to change, but also see the settings on this screen, so I don't have to actually look at the information on the flip out screen. So that's why this monitor is quite nice for like using with the Cineback, and definitely could also go for the BM5 of the Portkeys that can also wirelessly control like your Sony camera, and get all the information on here of the exposure, and also like just like it's kind of like an interesting way to bypass the issue of like the Sony cameras with like having the issues of like if you're recording 4K that you don't actually get any information out of the HDMI port. So this way I can actually get the exposure settings information on this screen here on top. Honestly, if I would be filming like a corporate video, definitely I would use this monitor just to build the setup to make it more impressive. But if I would film like a more of an event wise, I personally would rather go without the big monitor on top. So let's actually build down the monitor from here. And right now we have built it down without the monitor, and also without the mount holding the monitor and all the cables around. So it definitely makes this setup a little bit lighter, but also a much more cleaner setup with less cables around that are sticking out. So definitely for me it looks much nicer, but also feels like this could be a much nicer setup to use for filming like events. So especially if you're walking around events, you don't want to have like a lot of cables around that could hook onto a person or hook to, against anything else. So definitely a much more cleaner setup is much nicer for that. And to finish this setup off is to add a nice hood onto the screen here, and this allows me to see the screen without having a lot of like reflections on the screen. And yeah, holding this, I really like to hold the V-mount battery against my chest and then hold the normal grip of the camera, and then my other hand under the lens to control the focus and the iris. And yeah, that makes it a quite nice setup to just use for filming event handheld wise. And yeah, the weight adds a little bit more of a sturdiness and just makes it much more easier to film like much more stable shots handheld without like a whole stabilizer around. Quite important have the weight distribution of the camera being in the middle of the top handle. If you want to do low angle shots, it allows you also to like get more stable and straight shot without like working against the weight of the camera that is like leaning forward or backwards, and being more in the middle of the handle makes it easier to hold the camera much more level also. So in conclusion, what I feel like about the Cineback, definitely if you own the parts, try to build one yourself. If you have like multiple large cheese plates, just sandwich it between it and then build a bridge kind of between those two, and then slap on like something that holds your V-mount, or if you have a V-mount plates, you can also screw it on there. And definitely yeah, it feels like quite nice to have like a little bit of added weight, and also the size and look of the setup just makes it quite nice. But if you don't have any of the things and want to purchase like the thing or purchase or build your own, I would say look at AliExpress for the fusion rigs, because those are pretty much the affordable options, and those you can buy $120 for those. There'll be a link in the description below to the fusion rigs, and see if your camera is between there and get those instead, because those are quite affordable. But going for the actual Cinebacks, which are $300, for my own, I feel that is a little bit overpriced. The $300 is basically for a way too over glorified V-mount 2D tap splitter with a little bit of caging accessories around, because I feel like that it doesn't have to be that expensive for this setup. And yeah, get the fusion rig option instead, or just build it yourself, which is also still more affordable than the actual Cinebacks. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.